Introducing the Open Palm Podcast with host Jerome Shaw, available today on your favorite podcast platforms. The Open Palm Podcast is a positive, uplifting, motivational, and inspirational podcast. The host brings his insight and philosophy, and you can't help but gravitate towards his smile, his words, and his wisdom. Again, the podcast he hosts is titled The Open Palm Podcast. It's about inspirational messages, motivating themes, and thought-provoking ideas and topics. He'll also help you become more aware and in harmony with your own life, giving you a better understanding of your place in the world and using your skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. You can find the show today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. You can also connect with the host on Instagram at Jerome Shaw. That's JROMESHAW on Instagram. Jerome Shaw with the Open Palm Podcast. Motivation, meditation, mentality. Go listen, download, and subscribe today.
There are no small acts in an infinite universe. I saw this quote from one of my friends, Andrew Cawthon, and it really struck me at the right time. You know, you can see a message at different points in your life and it means something different to you because you are different. Just like how you can read a book and every time you read that book, you find something new. It hits you in a new and unique way. And this quote really hit me. There are no small acts in an infinite universe. How does this quote hit you, my friend? What do you think about this? When there are many times in people's life that they think that the things they are doing are insignificant, that they don't matter, when it is quite the contrary. Everything you do matters. Everything counts. Everything. Even the smallest thing, the most infinitesimal thing, the most minute thing, it matters, it counts, it still counts. There is nothing that you can do that does not count. There is nothing that you cannot do that will not manifest something. Every action, an equal and opposite reaction. So, understanding that when I started this podcast, I eventually started to realize what I didn't know at first, but that each episode was a pebble that I was throwing in the pond of all of existence, of eternity, that would ripple out into the cosmos and affect anyone who was able to listen. And anyone who was able to listen would affect anyone else, and those people would affect others, and those people would affect others, and those people would go on to affect others, to the point where I may never know how far-reaching this podcast will go. I may never know the results of all of my actions. I may never know the smile that I gave to a cashier at a grocery store that brightened their day and allowed them to say something nice to someone else in the line, that went and felt good about themselves, and instead of having an unfortunate end, they were able to come out victorious from a situation that I may never know of. There are people that you may never meet in life that are still affected by those seemingly small acts that you have done to either affect yourself or anyone else in this life. There are people that you may never come in contact with, that you may never meet, that you have still affected in this world in some form or fashion, whether big or small. So realizing for yourself that there's no such thing as a small act in an infinite universe. You are affecting not just yourself, but you are affecting me, you are affecting the world, you are affecting the collective universe. You are not small, my friend. You are all. Thank you for listening. This has been Jerome Shaw on TOP, the Open Palm podcast here in San Antonio, Texas. I pray you received an encouraging message letting you know how big you are in this wonderful universe. You know, it's interesting to think about things like, what if there was a whole universe on your fingernail? You could think of it that way. Or what if this whole universe, right? Galaxies and clusters of stars were on the fingernail of a giant walking through a forest. When you think of things this way, the magnitude is fascinating. But we fit into all of this. So share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And if this is your first time receiving this podcast, subscribe for more inspirational messages like this. And if you feel it in your heart to support, consider opening your browser to anchor.fm/jshaw. Clicking that support button there is much appreciated. Big shout out to all the wonderful supporters who donate and make it possible for episodes like this. Have a wonderful and blessed day or night, wherever you are, my friend. As always, take care.